When it comes to training, we're often limited by the amount of time we have. How do we get as much conditioning into our players as possible while also developing the various styles and systems of play we have? One of the most time efficient things we can do is use small-sided games to develop fitness and our style of play. Today I'm going to talk you through 3 different games you can use, some for hurling, some for football, some for a combination of both, to try and maximise your systems of play and conditioning at the same time. The first of 3 games we look at it's predominantly hurling focused. You can adapt it a bit to football, but we'll just take a look at it here now. It's set up, it's very much a small sided game, and I call it a breakout game because it's where defenders are trying to break out through or to a specific zone. So simple setup here. You start off on half pitch, or I suppose really quarter the pitch. I set up as 5v5 now. If you include the goalkeeper, that's 6v5. Easy enough. Include some bit of an overload in here as well. But the backs either receive the ball from the goalkeeper, or you can leave a series of balls on like the 14 or on the end line. Back goes in and gets it, and then they have to try. The aim of the game is to try and work it out. I have 2 gates set up here that they try and work it through. After that, you've a bit of freedom. They either work it through the gate and that's it, score. That is their score, or they deliver to a hypothetical or fake forward at the bottom end, or just let them turn around and stick it over the bar to be like, backs don't get that many chances to shoot, so give them a chance there. The aim for the forwards is to try and turn over the ball. As the backs are trying to work it out, they're trying to take the ball off and then work a score. It's really good for getting forwards in the habit of earning their own score by turning it over and trying to turn that into something then. You have the option to go for goals or for points. Now, while I've it set up here on one quarter, one half, one side of the pitch, you can have the exact same game going on the other side. A couple of things to be aware of there is you either need 2 goalies feeding the ball out. You probably need to force them to go for all points, or one side is goals and one side is points. You don't want both sides trying to work in and take shots on goal at the same time, because that's just really dangerous for the goalie or both goalies that might be in there. A couple of potential changes or progressions or modifications you can make around it. I'd usually do 6, give the keeper 6 balls that you're trying to see, and keep your little score after the 6 games. See, forwards got 1-1 from it, the backs got 3 balls out, or keeper scores that way, or play for a set number of time. If you've 1 game going on, I'd work for 6 to 8 deliveries or slitters. If you've 2 games going on, then you're better off playing for time. You can have different recoveries after each. So once the ball has gone dead, have a long reset, let them get fully recovered, get back into positions, get forwards either fully pressed up on their men or set in their zonal play that you have for opposition puckouts, and then reset or start again, or give it quite a short one, just 15 seconds. The overall length of game will be a good bit shorter then, because 15 seconds of a recovery while getting back into position is actually really tiring. So you want to be mindful, you might only play for 3 minutes max there. Whereas if you're giving it the long recovery, you can play maybe a 5 to 6 minute game. I'd usually give 2 minutes after each round, and that's not just recovery, that's a proper debrief. Try pull, the backs get in here, the forwards get in here, do a full debrief. What's happening? Why is it happening? What are we going to do differently? Set them a few questions and be tight on the 2 minutes. You might, depending on your group, you might need to appoint a leader to facilitate it, or they might be good to just manage it themselves. You can adjust it then to go full pitch, but half pitch, say, the whole way across, and go 6v6 or 8v8. Depending on what you want to lean into game-wise, you can put in an overload there. So if you don't really want the backs to be successful, or you have strong backs, you might overload the forwards by 1 player or whatever that way, or give them extra floaters on the outside. Aren't allowed run through a gate, but they can take a ball and link it back in. Put in 7v6, 7 forward, 6 backs, with a floating defender who only comes into play if the ball is turned over. Loads of different variations you can use. I also like to make it somewhat realistic in terms of delivery that comes to far end. I'll often leave a 2v1 up at the far end, so say 2 forwards, 1 defender, so that when you work through the delivery zone, you're actually looking to hit it to someone. And because there's 1 defender there, it's not just hit it any way at all you like. You are trying to overcome that defender by putting it to the side of him, put it over him, or whatever way they set up. Or, if you've injured players, you can leave a forward down there. It's just somewhat of a target, as opposed to just lumping it down the far end of the field. Second game we're going to look at is football focused, and ties into the new rules, but is good for condition anyway. I would use it before the new rules, but it's probably more applicable now. And it's going to look at your fast transitions, particularly through that middle zone, and it'll build up the levels of high speed run. So we're going to set up here, we have a blank zone, a transition zone, a middle zone that's set out generally in between the 45s. Now you can narrow in the pitch depending on how many players you have. That's entirely up to you. You free them based on what numbers turn up the train. At each end then you'll have like 4v4, again depending on how many players you have. I have it set up as 4v4, 4 backs, 4 forwards. And like, it's a really good chance to work on shape of what way you want your inside forwards set up, what way you want your defenders to play off them, in front, to the side, whatever. If you're going to try and incorporate a +1 for most of your games, incorporate the +1 here, because it will work based on delivery that's about to come. And you can then get the forwards working off, making the types of runs you want them making off each other in this instance. We also add in then our 3 transition players. Now 3 tends to work well. You can go 2 or 4, adjust it around and play around with these bits. The ball is going to start off. You have 2 options for the ball. You can either get a short ball from the keeper to one of the defenders to work it out, and the forwards maybe put on, like for the likes of the first ball, it's a bit of half pressure. They feed the 3 purple transition players here in the middle. Then they're just trying to transition from one 45 to the other as quickly as possible. And it's largely unopposed, but you can dip in one opposition player just to not make it completely fake. Now it's not just one player carrying. You can structure it reasonably heavily with going like a 3-man weave, but then give them different variations of that. They get the ball and they try and work it out as quickly as possible, go straight down the middle, bring it wide, come back in, start middle, go wide, whatever way your play is. And then once they get close to that 45, they deliver a ball. What you're looking for here is quality runs from your inside forwards. That really good movement to try and create space, receive ball in space, and create decent attacking opportunities that you would want in a game. Like the example here is, I'm trying to get that orange player that was out in the corner to receive the ball in front of goal, in a position where they're arcing around and turning towards goal based off the movement of the other 3 orange players. From that, hopefully results in a score or a really good turnover from your defenders. If the defenders turn it over, they're just trying to feed it back out to the 3 purple players in the middle. If there's a score, your 3 purple players come in around the 45 or around that like general kick out zone you want. Keeper plays, kick out, the kind of a dink pass to one of those, and they're just looking to transition as quickly as possible, right back up as quickly as they can, and make the delivery to the blue forwards at the far end. A couple of things to be mindful of here. Have your keepers ready for those quick deliveries. Obviously you want them switched on to like be goalies and take shots on goal if that's about to come. You don't want them roving out the field. It's not the game for that. But have them set up, if you have enough footballs, 3 or 4 balls in each goal, ready to make that quick kick out after a score or after a ball goes dead. Your players in the middle are going to get a lot of high quality work here, so have a limit on how much they do. Like carrying from 45 to 45 is like, I'm going to say it's 60 to 80 metres. 6 reps of that is 360, 400, 450 metres of high speed running. I wouldn't allow him to do any more than 6 reps without giving him a decent recovery. So that's either have 3 other players ready to jump in or swap him with some of the inside forwards or inside backs, or kind of limit it to 3 minutes of work. 3 minutes of work is going to be a lot here for those middle players. I know they will get some bit of a break once the ball is delivered in, but even at the end zone there is high enough intensity work. The ball goes down the far end to get good break and comes back up, but I'd be limited at 3 minutes. You can rotate with the inside players or have 3 sitting out that just rotate in and out, and you have an idea who your main players for these types of roles are. There's a lot of high speed running, so you are going to need the recovery between the bits of this, but it is really good quality work too. Try and do a bit of prior work and guidance with your inside players on the type of movement they're going to make, because you want this as applicable to what they're going to do in games as possible, not just doing it for the sake of fitness. I would also allow a game to develop before you're stepping in and coaching, we'll say, the inside forward runs or the transition runs. Try and let them do 4, 6 upwards of 8 would probably be your upper limit of runs here before you come in and start giving too much direction. This is a really good chance to just observe. And then if you are taking your 2-minute rest periods to give a bit of instruction, time that, because you can get lost in making points. And for starters, you're probably losing the impact of the messaging if you're going on for too long, but also heart rate, intensity, everything will just drop so much that time your rest periods, have a quick little check on it or have someone checking on it for you. And once it gets to 2 minutes, right, back out, kick out coming from blue keeper in 20 seconds, let's be ready to go. Just to practice yourself, keeping intensity up, but also the clarity and quality of messaging that goes out to players. Third game then is a dual focus. I have used it in both hurling and football with slightly different variations on it, but we'll look at those as we go through here. I'm just going to call it possession with purpose because it is really important. So we're just going to set up a pitch here like an American football end zone type pitch. The orange team go to one scoring zone, the blue team go to the other scoring zone. You score by a clean possession in the end zone. That's a strike pass to a catch, a hand pass to a catch, a kick pass to a catch. Whatever it is you want to focus in on. And you put whatever little constraints you want specifically for your team. You can limit solos, limit hops, 4 steps, and you have to release whatever you want that way. And it's just about the team working forward and working backwards, trying to maintain possession, but moving that possession forward. You'll have elements where you need to recycle because paths are blocked. You should incorporate some off-the-shoulder runs, whatever that way. You have been working on outside it. And you just see how the blue team transition forward, and now the orange team has transitioned forward as well. You can put specific constraints on it, or like your backs, your forwards, your midfielders, or you can leave it a bit of a free-for-all. Both work based on what it is you're trying to get from it. You can progress it then. One is that if someone gives a clean possession and you catch it, if that is followed by an off-the-shoulder run and you can then lay it off to someone, because that's really good attacking stuff, particularly in that part of the pitch, that can be double points, or actually given the opportunity to take a shot on goal if the shape of the pitch works. It's going to be somewhat dependent on the amount of numbers you actually have available to you, what size your pitch is and everything that way. And just a couple of progressions you can make then. So you said about the off the shoulder run, you can, if it's more of a fitness focus, all players must be across the halfway line before a score can count. That just forces the back that might just hang back a lot to run up and just push things up a bit, plus a bit of communication. You can add in a retreat line. This may just stop the goal hangers. The lad will catch the ball, score grand, and he just stands there with his arm folded until it's the next attack. That just forces them to retreat a bit, but also will allow the team who's just conceded a score to build a little bit of an attack or a little bit of momentum as they come out with the ball. You can also just put in a shot clock if you're trying to emphasise or encourage rapid transitions. The shot clock would be really useful or effective here. They're just 3 examples of games I've used in the past. I'm putting them out here on like leaning towards the conditioning end, but obviously you can manipulate them whatever way you like to get more in terms of your style of play, your systems of play, whatever you want that way. You know your team, you know your players, you know how you want to play, so use your various adaptations that you like to elicit the style of play you want. Be mindful of how long you're playing for, recovery times, and the role different players are given, just to try and manage the fitness load, but also balance an overall fatigue on players in games like this.